For further analysis, we are joined from Ramallah by military and strategic expert Major General Habes Sharouf. Mr. Habes, thank you so much for joining us on Qnews. First off, what are the reasons behind the increase in attacks in northern and southern Gaza, and how do they affect the civilian population?
Evening to you and to your viewers. In fact, Israel is currently having a very ferocious campaign against the Palestinian people. There are certain objectives that Israel wants to achieve. It wants to submit Hamas and force Hamas to go for negotiations. It wants to displace the Palestinian people. And the latest criminal acts by Israel is aimed to prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state and demolish every kind of infrastructure, whether health-wise, economic-wise, or whatever. So recently, Israel has destroyed the hospital and attacking civilians, and this is totally violating and coming against the international laws and the international norms. These crimes are supposed to be held accountable by the international law and international humanitarian law. Israel is now waiting for Trump to come to office, and Israel is trying to win some points for the time being. It wants to have full control. It wants to establish a de facto and a status quo on the ground. And when there is a ceasefire, when there is a ceasefire, Israel will have the upper hand in the negotiations before the ceasefire.
Speaking of demolishing the infrastructure you've mentioned, how does its destruction impact the daily life and essential services for residents in Gaza?
The situation in the Gaza Strip is catastrophic on the humanitarian level and on every possible level. There is no food, no water, no medication, so people are forced to steadfast under these attacks and under this barbaric attacks by the Israeli. So the Israelis want just displacement. They want to starve the people so as they leave the place and get displaced. But the Palestinians in Gaza are steadfasting in their own land, and they know that they are pressured for displacement, but they have no other way. They are armless, and still they are bombarded every day and night. So they can do nothing but steadfasting against the Israeli aggression and trying to survive under the current attacks. The Netanyahu right-wing government, they wanted to establish more losses among the Palestinians before Trump comes to office. They wanted to kill more civilians and to demolish more infrastructure, so Gaza Strip will become inhabitable. And this is a new policy by Israel. They wanted to have settlements inside Gaza Strip. And the far right in Israel wants to establish this on the ground. But the thing that is really changing the course of this war is the steadfasting of the people of Gaza and failing the plans of the right-wing government.
On the other hand, Israel is also expanding its incursions into the occupied West Bank. What are the implications of this on the overall security and the political situation?
Israel never stopped incursions into the West Bank because the Israelis and Ben Gvir says West Bank is Yehuda and Samira, so they want to control as much as possible of the sea areas in West Bank. They wanted to enhance their settlement, to confiscate more land, and to prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state and to limit the Palestinians. So Israel in the West Bank never stopped its aggression, not even a single day till now. And there had been more settlements and more confiscation of land. And this is absolutely, totally against all the resolution of United Nations and the Security Council. But the Palestinians are just facing this with their bare chests. They are now mobilizing the popular resistance. And this is the only thing they have for the time being, because in the end, they need help and support from the Arab, Islamic, and regional support and international support, of course, to stop the aggression against West Bank and Gaza Strip.
Now, according to Israeli media, the possibility to implement an exchange deal of hostages and detainees is serious this time. Yet with these developments taking place in Gaza and the West Bank, how do these influence the broader prospects for ceasefire negotiations?
Is the one who has hindered the exchange of hostages. He has put the sticks in the wheels. Egypt has offered a number of proposals to have a ceasefire and to exchange the hostages. The Palestinians agreed to this, but the one who crippled all that was Netanyahu. Netanyahu does not want anything but expansion, but to meet his political objectives and his military objectives that he has set since the first day of the aggression of the war. And Netanyahu till now is the one that creates the obstacle. But he says to the world that Hamas is the obstacle. But the fact is, Netanyahu is the one who rejects the truce, the agreements, and everything. Netanyahu and some of his people in his government believe that these hostages are like casualties of war, so they wouldn't care about them. And Netanyahu is continuing the aggression, and I believe Netanyahu does not want a ceasefire. And if there is a ceasefire, he wants it to be temporary, because he did not achieve his objectives other than the killing, assassinations, and destruction. Other than this, Netanyahu did not change his image to the world. So Netanyahu before trying to be like a pigeon of peace, but now he is a fully recognized war criminal with the testimony of human rights organizations and many institutions all over the world. All the world is against racism and apartheid policies by the right-wing Israeli government.
That was military and strategic expert Major General Habes Sharouf from Ramallah. Thank you so much for your insights and for all the information you provided us with.